What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestro, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it.
Well, welcome to the Author's Quill, everyone. I hope y'all loved all those little promos there for y'all to listen to. Isn't it fun to get to listen to promos and stuff, all the weird people we have on the network doing so many weird things? I mean, come on, these guys are doing everything from telling you how to fix your car to fix your life, to fix your money, and kick the ghost out of your house all at the same time. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. Hell, I think we even got a few of them out there fighting fires in LA today. Welcome, Gigi. Welcome, John. How you doing? Well, let's start with John, since we know they're trying to burn him alive out there. So, John, how's things in hell? You know, we've always said LA was hell, so now we know for sure. When you look from it above, it looks like Satan's backyard.
It does.
Well, so I got a question for you before we get into the good stuff tonight. What is it? Just the rich people getting burnt out, or is it everybody?
Everybody. It's just that you got the two big fires, which is Palisades, which is all along the coast, and that's see the last update on that one there. That's Palisades is 11% contained at 22,500 acres, and then on the other side by Pasadena is called the Eaton Fire, and that's 15% contained at a little over 14,000 acres. And then there's the Kenneth Fire, which is in Ventura. That's 1,000 acres. That's 80%. And the Hearst Fire is 76% contained at 800 acres. The Hollywood Fire, which is the one that was just about a half a mile away from me, that was about 44 acres. And that's the one I did the post and sent around some pictures. That's where we're up on the roof. Everybody on staff, it was like a condition 1, everybody's out there, all the hose we found, and we were just hosing down all the plants, anything that was wood.
Wow.
Even if, the main thing was any embers that were, that would be flying. That's what we were interested in. If the fire came like that, obviously our hosing down wouldn't do anything, but hosing down so that any embers they wouldn't be able to catch. That's the main thing we were trying to do. So we had everybody up on that rotating. But it's amazing. We got the fire on the hillside was out by, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 10:30, at least the visible, but there's still the embers underneath. And you don't realize, I mean, that thing was going fast, and it was because the wind stopped that it stopped, so because when we saw it come over the crest and come, it just was like it was going so fast coming down the hillside. Like I say, it was only half a mile away from us. So it was pretty scary when I kept on hearing on the fire trucks coming down, because we're right here on Hollywood Boulevard. So we heard these fire trucks. So Emily and I said, well, let's go out. What is that? So we went out. As soon as we got up, and Gigi, you've been to our building too. So like when you get up to the roof there, you can see the Hollywood Hills right behind us. As soon as we got up and we could see it, we just see these huge flames shooting up on the hills there. And it was just like, oh my God, it was such a, it was crazy scary because of the speed that it was going. And then, so we thought it was up, but at 4 o'clock in the morning, we almost got called back in again because it started back up again,
Oh no.
But they kept the fire department kept watch there because obviously they know about fires. So until they're fully out and everything in the roots is done like that, you don't leave it alone. And so finally it's out now. But because several of these things now are because of arson, it's not like an ember flying over. It's somebody else with a blowtorch is just starting things up on fire. And it's quite a devastating scene. And so you see, you've seen the footage now of just whole decimated swaths of land. And it's unfortunate that 2 weeks to 4 months ago, so many people lost their insurance. Policies were canceled. And so they no longer have fire insurance. And so everybody at our office has gone through our closets and just cleaned out anything we haven't worn for a while to take that in to provide, because it's not new, but if you've got nothing, because some of these people
anything comes in handy.
5 minutes to get out of here, and boom, the house, everything was destroyed. They have nothing. We got pictures now of a lot of stuff on X of all the animals in the streets, come down from the mountains, from the hills, because all their homes were like destroyed as well. So they need, they left and come down to the streets. And no, it's quite the scene. And it's unfortunate too, with all the incompetence that we have as well going on.
We tackled a lot of that last night. We're going to be tackling that on the next show too. On the chat, we'll be talking more.
Yeah.
About it.
No, it was just, that's what's really bad. Is like you look at the huge reservoir, it's empty because it's been empty for a year. And
y'all had more rain than usual too. That's kind of weird.
Well, it's because it was directed by
Nitty girl. Yeah. We talked about
back
it,
to the ocean and not
Miss. I make $750,000 a year, and I'm not going to get into that here. But Jesus, that woman is nice. And Miss, and what's her name? Brass, whatever her name is. That's another mess, man. I'm sorry, Gigi, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Instagram has been very entertaining with a lot of information. You guys even had Oregon firefighters going out there, and I had to fact check something because on Instagram someone mentioned that they were stopping them because I guess like something about emissions and a state thing
in San Francisco.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
When I first got that story, I'm like, this is bullshit. Nobody's going to stop 50 trucks going on fire. And sure enough, they stopped their ass to check their emission. I could not believe they actually did that. I was like, you got to
California
be kidding.
it's insane, and it's understandable how people leave. If I didn't have my job here that kept me here, I would not be here. It's just
shit. That's half the state these days. And well, you're not going to have to worry about it much because I watched the Texas governor and California governor get into it this morning, which was just pure funniness. Now, Gavin was talking about how y'all have the biggest production and all the Fortune 500 companies, and he was going on and on and on. Texas governor said, you better start looking, boy. He said, we got all your companies. He said, we have 2/3 of all the Fortune 500 companies are right here in Austin, Houston, and Dallas. He said, so you better check on that. And he said, as far as productivity goes, we're 3 times what y'all are. He said, our economy is going to be passing within 5 years.
Yeah.
And Gavin just sat there like the person that he is and didn't say anything. I was just like, oh my God. But I told everybody a long time ago, I said, when Apple decided to leave California, you knew they were in trouble because you can't get no more liberal than Apple. I mean, that's the most liberal company on the planet. Yeah. And if they're telling liberal heaven bye-bye, there's a problem. It needs to be worked on. But they're in Austin these days, or that's where they're going to end up in Austin. Tesla and the rest of them, where Elon's going to build his own city next to Austin for his SpaceX people and Tesla people and some other companies he's got now. The guy thinks he's God himself. I mean, he worries me a little bit. I like you, but he worries me a little bit. Anyway, Gigi, how have you been? We're going to move on to a better subject altogether.
Yeah, you got 2 thorns right here in this beautiful rose.
Yes, how's things? Life been treating you good? You need do I need to slap somebody for you? I don't want to slap somebody.
Life is good. So I would say in the past, like, let's go 6 months or whatnot. There's an art show. There's some special effects makeup that I did. Writers of the Future reached out to me and I finished, an illustration for Tim Powers' story for volume 40.
Who are these writers? I've never heard of these people. Who's Writers of the Future?
You guys, Galaxy
I don't know. I said that to somebody the other day, and they're like, Joe, you see them books behind you, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know who the hell that is.
What are you talking about?
No, we're not doing them drugs today. Oh, man.
Oh, you're so silly.
I'm just saying. So anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. There was also the holiday card. That was really fun.
That was a beautiful card. That we had so many compliments.
Thank you so much. For a hot second, like I had it all planned out. I even made my physical measurements and I was like so excited. And I believe Maliva had mentioned that there was an issue with how big it was, that they might have to reduce the size. And I thought, well, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And I'm so glad that you guys kept it because I tell you, when I received that in the mail, I thought, wow, the paper, it was like a shimmer paper. It was so good. It was so nice. The colors.
You did a beautiful job. You got your card right, Joe, because you also had your
yes. It's actually still up in the front. I haven't taken them out yet.
Yeah.
Took all the rest of the Christmas deck.
She's the one that painted that.
Well, I didn't know that. Well, it was very pretty.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So that was really, really fun. And then after that, like in the mix of that, I had a family member and a good friend of mine passed away in like the month of October. So there's like a lot of traveling, a lot of reflecting. But I also started a part-time job as a caregiver. So that's been really life-giving. I was really scared at first because I thought, man, is this going to tap into like my creative energy? Bills have to be paid. School loans are starting to come up. Right. So I took on this part-time job and it's been really nice, really fun, challenging, but it doesn't tap into like the energy that I need to be creative. So
you maintain your marine background, so you put them on your back and do your hikes into the hills.
Listen, Listen, I swear it's been so helpful. Sometimes, the Marine Corps gun ho comes in effect. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's effective. Sometimes you got to use it to guide some
We used to give you Marine girls so much trouble when I was in the Navy. God, because we were stationed together. So, it's how it is when you're in the Navy.
That's been really life-giving for sure. I've enjoyed that. And going into the holiday season, I was so tapped out and so busy that we literally put up our Christmas tree the day before Christmas Eve. And we literally took it down today. So we enjoyed it. It was up. And now it's just planning. I started my business last year, and that was wild because I didn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't say I know exactly what I'm doing just yet, but taxes are coming up. So I have to think about that. And, thinking about increasing my knowledge or mastering my drawing skills. I think Writers of the Future has ignited that side of illustration for me that I thought wasn't really an industry I could tap into, narrative and comic books and stories. And it was there, but it was over there somewhere, And so I've been really excited about, tapping into my drawing. I start classes with the atelier on, I'm going to tap into it today because, I have to manage my time. So that's fun. I'm just trying to get better at the foundations because, I've learned, if anything, that's the most important thing. So,
as you become rich, you need to move to one of them tax-free states. What state you live in?
Oregon. It is tax-free.
Y'all still pay federal.
We don't pay. I don't know which one it is, but we just, if it's $5.99, guess what? We're paying $5.99.
Well, that's good. No, that's good because Florida and Texas, have no income tax at all. You don't pay any income tax there.
I know Washington. I think in Washington,
there's a half a dozen states or so that you don't have to pay income tax in.
Yeah, California is 9.5%.
And what gets me is Florida. Okay, Florida, you pay no income tax, and their state tax 4.9%. I'm like, I don't even know how they do it, but and they got great highways. They don't have sinking ones like where I live, where they sink in stuff. They got beautiful structures everywhere, great parks, good health care. How in the hell are you not taking income tax?
You coming and going.
Honestly, I would love to go to California. My husband's from California. I was stationed in California, so. I would kind of say I can be a Californian.
Oh, Lord. You better stay out of California. They fixing to close that state down.
I know. Me and my husband were just talking, last night with all the fires and stuff and, the taxes. And every time we get excited about, okay, we should start thinking and planning to go to California. And then something happens and it's maybe it's not time. It's not time yet.
No, you got to start thinking now is California is not the state anymore. It's not the Hollywood. That's not where the stars are going to be. Matter of fact, most of the movies made in this country for the last 5 years are made in Louisiana and Georgia, not in Hollywood.
Yeah. That's most of them, you say?
Yeah, most of them. Louisiana was making a ton, and then Georgia came in and did this. Well, you come in, we'll charge you 1% tax. Well, Cali was going to try to match it, and then Newsom found out how much loaded tax was they had a heart attack. So Georgia's basically letting them come. Plus, Georgia gives them use of state equipment for free. They don't have to pay for it, and they'll even give them the employees to help them out with it and all. So they're and you got the Gulf Coast part of Georgia, you got the Atlantic Ocean, and then you got these beautiful vistas of mountains, snow riddled. I mean, you have everything you want in one state. You don't have to go looking around for anything. So it makes it way easy. And then you've got homes that are 300, 350 years old. You're not going to find that kind of stuff in California or anywhere. You're really only going to find it in the deep south and in the higher East Coast. That's about it. So they like it, and the people are friendlier and nicer, and the food is way better. Just it's in a magnitude. I love California, but you look, when you live in New Orleans full time, you don't want to go eat anywhere else. I'm just telling you.
I'll give Oregon that. Like, they have a great like food selection. Food trucks are everywhere. You can go to pods where they have like 12 food trucks and have.
Yeah, I like when they do those. Those are kind of cool.
Like, it's so good. Yeah. The food out here is great. I don't
Florida
know
does that. They have these little. They're funny in Louisiana about food trucks, but Florida does it. You'll go down, they'll have a place, and they'll have them all together. Sometimes they'll be covered. Sometimes they'll be out in the open next to the beach. It's really nice. They all have good food. And then there's these restaurants, and they got high end, low end, anything you want, but the food. See, Louisiana is different because we cook everything. It's not like different states. Oh, it's American this or West this. No, we cook everything, and then sometimes we cook everything and mix it together. It's kind of weird. No, Jimmy, it's a great place to eat. But I mean, as far as Georgia is good for taxes, beautiful homes. My sister, who lives right outside of Atlanta, she was going to live in Atlanta, but she said they were nuts. Her and her husband have really high end jobs, and they have a 5,700 square foot house with a jacuzzi and a pool on a half acre where the deers come walking through. It's on a cul-de-sac, beautiful neighborhood. How much do you think they paid for it? Now, if this was downtown Atlanta, this would be $5 million. Where they live right now, they paid $225,000. You couldn't even buy a house where I live in Mississippi for $225,000.
I believe it. My cousin, so most of my family, I was born in Indiana. So we've trailed from like Midwest, a little bit more south of Indiana, but we're still closer to Chicago. But you get a bang for your buck out there. You know, my cousin recently purchased like a 2,600 square foot house for like $250 or $220 with like 1 acre of land. It's crazy.
You get nice. I mean, but still, my sister's jealous because I live in the water. She's like, but brother, you only paid $139 for your house. I said yes, because it was from a customer who really liked me. The house appraised at $460 when I bought it. He let me have it for $139. I was like, really? On a 5-year loan, sign the paper and go. That's the way you want to buy a house. And you know what my house note is? You'll be jealous if I tell you. It's $750 a month.
Wow.
But if you add in my insurance, is because I live on the Gulf Coast, that's nothing. The house note is nothing. My homeowners cost more than my house note does. My wind and hail, we ain't even going to talk about that. It make people cry. It is crazy. Like, you know, like we were talking earlier, poor California got theirs cut off. They do that to people down here all the time. They're just like, oh, well, there's going to be another hurricane. But what our states did was the 5 southern states got together and said the same thing. Well, if you don't insure the homes, you don't get to insure the boats and the cars and everything else. Get out of our state. Oh, well, guess what? They had to change their heart. Like, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. You know, that's 50 million people we're talking about. Let's just calm down here. So they behave themselves. So you're out there. Yeah. Oregon's a great state. I mean, it's got a lot to offer. I mean, Portland's a beautiful city. I haven't been there in a long time, but it's a beautiful city. One of my friends who moved from West. Well, I have heard some bad stuff recently. So
Portland is getting so bad. I mean, like,
sketchy. I know Seattle was
active. There's an active art community, I would say.
Yeah.
But man, like right now, they're really fighting homelessness because it's just after the pandemic, and there is like a couple of like. I wouldn't even say right. I don't know. It got crazy.
I've heard some stuff. I mean, we featured y'all a couple times. So anytime you make news on the flip side, that means something's not doing right.
So there's just a lot of fixing up that they're trying to do out here.
Well, a good friend of mine, Zuby, who's from Africa. She moved from Africa to England, to New York, where she went to nursing school, and then she ended up out in Arizona is where her family was for a while. And then she ended out in Portland. And she said she felt like a candle out there because when she was walking around downtown, she was the only person of color. She said it was kind of weird. She said, don't get me wrong, Jay, everybody was real nice. She said, but I just felt out of place. anyway, she stayed there anyway. Eventually, she got her PhD, so she owns her own clinics. She's got 3 of her own clinics now, so she does quite well for
I'll
herself.
say this. When I attended George Fox University, I have never been surrounded by so many redheads in my life.
That's because all them hippies moved there back in the 60s.
So many. No shame, but I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of redheads here.
It's I don't know. I mean, it's a shame because all I ever heard for 50 years about Portland and Seattle was they were fabulous, great cities, and in the last 4 or 5, well, last 10 years, really, it seems to be changing, I guess is the only way to say it. But I did hear something funny the other day. So Vancouver said they want to annex Seattle, and then after they annex Seattle, they want to annex Portland, so y'all could be Canadians. It's like, it's okay. And what are you going to give us in return? I mean, we'll let you have the whole West Coast if you give us something good.
No, I mean, I don't like Canada prices. I have some
Canada is crazy. Yeah, their
prices are crazy.
They make California look cheap.
Crazy. Yeah. No, they can keep that.
But somehow or another, they're able to make all these movies and TV shows and up there so cheap. It doesn't make any sense to me because I mean, a lot of series are made in Canada. Yeah. And they got all that high-end graphic equipment and all that hologram equipment up there now. And I don't understand. So for the citizens, if you're a citizen of Canada, I know you. I watch CBC all the time, and my manager of my station is from Canada, and several of the hosts. So I know y'all getting screwed. But yet you bring Americans up there and you let them do their business, and they live for dirt cheap. I guess it's some kind of deal because it's people coming in, businesses. I don't know what it is. It's insane. You know, I was thinking about you though. They got a place called Fairhope, Alabama. You would just love. This is a 150-year-old artiste community in the deep, deep South. It's on Pensacola. It's on Mobile Bay, actually, is where it's at. So on the weekends, they have the symphony comes out and plays the sunset till it goes down. They start playing just before it, and they sit there and play. You will see 50, 60, 70 artists out there just sketching away sunsets, landscapes, people walking around. I mean, it's a beautiful area. They got one area that's got 340 rose plants in it. Got another area where you can walk up and scratch the geese on the head. Just be brave. Little water fountains all over, highland, lowland, just beautiful homes. It's a fabulous community, and it's what it is. It's an artiste community. It's always been that. And if you're in the artist world, if you show them, when you move into their town that you are an artist, whether it's an author or any type of artist, you live tax-free, 100%. No taxes on food, no taxes on gas, no taxes on your home, no taxes on anything. They pick up the tab. I'm like, who the hell's paying the taxes?
John, are you going to become an artist?
I know, huh? And the town is decorated. They have white lights throughout all the trees. So at night, the whole town lights up. In every corner, both on the poles and on the ground, they have flowers on every one. When you drive through the town, it's just, at different times of the year, it's different color flowers or varieties of flowers. It's such a beautiful city, and it is just definitely set up for someone who wants to be an artist. The atmosphere is relaxing. It's a very stress-free place to live. They also got good food there, but they've only got a handful of restaurants. But you are right there below Mobile and next to Pensacola, so there's lots of food around if you want to go eat. And you're also right there by Gulf Shores, which is absolutely stunning this time of year. The sunsets, actually the sunrises and the sunsets are prettier in the winter than they are in the summer. At least for us there. I can't speak for everyone. I guess because of the amount of water vapor in the air and stuff. You'd like it. It's just what it's designed for. And it's so funny because every time I go there and we're driving through the town and I see all these people out there painting and drawing and stuff, the first person I think of is John. I'm like, John be out here recruiting people.
Hey, the end of the contest?
I imagined John differently. I imagined him with the little fedora.
Oh, with the little cap on.
Right. And being part of the community.
Yeah, they for some reason back in the late 1800s, they set up a couple of these little communities around the Deep South. I guess to encourage, because it wasn't very encouraged way back in the middle 1800s. That was more, you would see it more up north than you would see in the South for some reason. And then they decided, well, we're going to get into this too. but they're all still around. You know, I think the oldest one is 180 years old. It's right outside New Orleans. I wouldn't go there now, though. It seems a bit dangerous. So what are you up to next? I mean, you're just gonna go out and whoop some people around. You got some.
No, just right now it's just part-time. It's my part-time job because my business is my full-time job.
Yeah.
Full-time job.
So I've, and there's like, I didn't realize this. I think when I was younger, I thought like I have to fully commit all my time, all day, every day to my art. And I never made space to like add like a part-time job and all this other stuff. I thought it would just take up too much of my time. But actually it puts a fire in your butt. It's like you have to work, because if you don't take advantage of your time, someone else will. So I'm just prepping right now. I'm really just focusing on, okay, I want to revamp my website. I have to do taxes for my business. What are some things that I want to plan ahead of time, such as I remember when last year for volume 40, there was this talk about Comic Cons and Dragon Con and all these things. I had no idea that was even an opportunity for me. So I wasn't like financially, I wasn't prepared for that. But I mean, am I allowed to go to Dragon Con this year?
Yeah. So what will work out is I'll just let it be known, that with Dragon Con that you can come there because you saw some of the pictures that we had there because we had a lot of winners. Yeah, we have Dragon Con, and we have San Diego Comic Con, and then there's Tampa Comic Con, and then we go to Salt Lake City FanX. So we go to and they do really, really well. And all the owners give us tables that we can invite our past winners and judges to come there and have a place to autograph books and to sell their art.
What is San Diego from?
Really wanted to do Dragon Con so bad.
It's a lot of fun. Atlanta's a lot of fun too.
I saw what you guys did though. It was really, really nice. Like I was so happy. Nice.
Yeah.
So how far are you from Utah though? I mean, I know San Diego is like a day drive or something from you, huh? Maybe a day and a half drive. California's a pretty long state, so
I kind of want to say it's like 17 hours from here. So I would be interested in going to like that one. I think that one's FanX, Salt Lake City.
FanX was a lot of fun.
I really want to go to Dragon Con because that one's like really big and all genres of movies and books and all of this stuff. And I thought, man, what an opportunity to be part of that. So
we'll follow up after so we can make sure we can get you on that list.
Yeah, for sure. I really want to do that this year. There's plenty of time to plan and make decisions.
Yeah. That's a good way because I'll be up there. I'm going to stay with my sister, so I promised I'd come see her ass finally. So she said, "You're not coming to see me. You're going to see that guy John." It's like, what are you talking about? She said, "I know what you doing." I said, "No, Steph, I'm gonna hang out with my sister. I love you." She's like, "You're bullshit." That's it. Besides, I haven't seen my god niece, so I'm in trouble. She's like 3 years old now, and my niece finally had a baby, and I was like, "Well, you coming to see it?" I'm like, "Yeah." That was like I said 3 years ago, so I'm kind of in a doghouse. I'm in a doghouse for that one, but
you better get out.
It's a great city, but it's a lot of fun. Out. Oh, I'm going because she got mad at me last time I went. She goes, "Well, why don't you come stay with me?" I said, "Well, you're 20 minutes from where the place is," and I said I was literally like 5 seconds away. I said I could just hop in the truck or hop on Uber and be there. And since Uber will pick you up anywhere with GPS now, it was great. I just have them drop me off, pick me up. And it wasn't even expensive. I was like, I think it was $5 from the hotel where John was. Where was I? I was at the Hilton. So it was nice. And it wasn't even that expensive. I was surprised because Atlanta's usually a little on the pricey side. But I was surprised. It was a nice hotel. They even gave me a suite.
I was looking at the hotel prices during that time since it was so close to that day. Like there was no hotels. It was like really like they were taking advantage. They We're like,
well, I'll tell you a little secret. Atlanta
some-
overbooks. So the last 2 years they had the basketball championship there while they had Dragon Con. So the city was packed.
Wow.
I mean, it was double because Atlanta's a big city. They've got a lot of hotels in it, but way more than doing Dragon Con would need. But when they have other events going, and they're like New Orleans, they like to do multiple events at one time. They have city. When you have a city that's designed for tourism, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So New Orleans and Atlanta are both designed to handle a lot of people. There's a lot of hotel rooms, and Atlanta's really like 4 cities anyway. And I tell everybody before you go, so you're probably used to it. You live in a higher altitude, and get out there and do some exercise because there's a lot of walking going on in Atlanta, and it's a lot of up and down.
Well, I've been practicing. I've been walking 3 miles every other day.
I see. Good.
You?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Your
I like
80-pound rucksack.
No, that's my husband. He lives for that. He can keep that. No, honestly, like I just started this 3-mile thing because I met a 95-year-old woman and she was walking like she was 50. She was doing it. And I asked her, what have you been doing? Because my client, she's 95 and she can't really walk on her own. And she said 3-mile walks. 3-mile walks. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. 3-mile walks because I want to dance when I'm 95.
It's
let me tell you what, it works. Lydia Van Vo is she's the wife of A.E. Van Vo, a very famous Pulp Fiction author, and he wrote one of the books is called Slan. But anyway, so she's I think 98 now. She comes every year to the Writers of the Future Gala, and she still wears heels, and she does. She walks I don't know how many miles a day, and it's just she's just amazing. She's definitely showing her age, but she was the one who was the translator for General Eisenhower when he at the end of World War II, and when he was going through Germany, because she spoke I think 7 languages. So everywhere he would go, she'd be there with him to translate. And then she said it was the worst experience for her is when they went into I think it was Dachau, the concentration camps, and just seeing the mountains of bodies. And Eisenhower walked in. I mean, they drove in. He looked and they said, "Okay, let's leave." They turned around and left. And it was just so horrific, And so she even talking about this, like, was it 60 years later or so? I interviewed her 2 years ago or 70 years ago, and she still cries thinking about it. It was just so horrific that experience. But
those things definitely stick.
Yeah. Anyway, she still wears heels and is just amazing. I think she's 98 now, and she'll joking around says, "No, I'm only 97." And then her daughter says, "No, Mom, you're 98 now." Whatever.
I love it.
And she was such a flirt. She'd come up and she put her arm around me and say, "Okay, let's go." It's just like say, "Okay, Lydia." And
they're so fun.
Yeah, she is still a total sweetheart. She'll be at the awards gala again this year. I'm curious, are you still in touch with any of your fellow winners?
So we have a Discord, and every so often we chat on there. The person that I've connected with the most is Steve Bentley. Me and my husband had it was in the summer. I should reach out to him, but we went to his house and we had like barbecue or whatever. Selena, Jenny, Arthur, they're all very active in Discord. So we're, constantly posting stuff, or we'll say hi to each other. So we all wished each other a happy new year. So there's still
Arthur's very much in communication too. Every time I send out an email to all the winners, he'll get back and forth in a conversation, and really hope, he does really well too. Cause he does, everybody's hustling, but he's definitely doing the hustling and stuff like you. Yeah. There's a few others that are like really like going after it and trying to take advantage of the win to, to keep on moving the careers, which is great.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Author. I know that even when we were when we first came to the before the gala, you know, we had
The
that
workshop,
week of
the
courses
workshop week.
and
Yeah.
workshops and stuff and art talks. Like, he was doing stuff already, and like I would say, not just him, but everyone brought something to that week that inspired everyone all at
Yeah.
the same time. So it's really nice to see that people are still going. I think Pedro is also very active in his artwork.
Very. Yeah.
Even his wife, like I remember him telling us about him and his wife creating like content together. I think she writes and he draws. So that's been really cool to see.
When he was on the show with Joe and I, several months ago after after the award event, and he'd come back from, he was at a Comic-Con there in so he left, come back in, and then he said, okay, I need to go back now. So when the hour was up, he said, okay, I'm ready to go back to the Comic-Con now. It was like 2:00 in the morning for him. He said, yeah, it's still going, but it was amazing. He was a lawyer, or he is a lawyer.
I still can't get over the lawyer thing. He's so nice.
A lawyer, so
he's
he could do
so
art.
funny.
He's hilarious.
So
yeah.
I love it.
I was like, how the hell were you a lawyer, man? I was, hey, look, I know a lot of lawyers. He's none like him now.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. But he wrote, just say, how are you doing? You know, I've had several people write in saying, hope you're safe. And I did a post on Facebook just showing the fires just right next door, and we had shots of some of our staff, the hoses hosing stuff down, preparing, and that was probably I've had more comments and stuff like that than any of the posts ever. It's like over 100.
I'm going to find me a picture of Emily with a hose, man. I'm posting it all over social media. I posted one of the ones he sent me yesterday. Damn thing went viral. Last time I checked it, had 85,000 plays on it. I was like, wow, what the hell? And it was just a little short when you posted.
Yeah.
We had posted a couple of them, and I everyone I seen that came up through my messenger box or came up through my other Facebook. I posted on my other Facebooks, but it was kind of weird. Some of them did really well. Some of them didn't. You never know with people, but a lot of comments on them. Yeah,
we had some news service in Europe say, can we take this and share it? It was only the 22nd thing or so, but it just showed there's Hollywood Hills there on fire, but
they're all good.
Yeah.
And then between the ones you sent and the ones we've been gathering, like last night, I mean, we must have played 25 different clips when you looked at it. We even had some satellite imaging.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks rough. It looks like Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I tried to tap into the camera. I think there's like a camera somewhere by the Hollywood sign, and it just was not connecting. I'm like, oh my God, I need to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice a lot of the CCT was down for some reason.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was down.
Yeah. There's just, I mean, it's still like 270,000 people are out of power. It's crazy.
Well, Carmen told me he was out for like 24 hours.
Yeah, well, the night before the fire hit, on Tuesday night, our power at home was out until 5:30 in the morning. And
is it true you didn't have water?
No, I had water. Other parts don't have water, like where they're trying to fight the fire in part of the I forget which reservoir. It's totally empty. You can see pictures of that where it's just an empty reservoir.
Oh my God.
Because of it's been empty for a year, so it's just crazy because it's known that we have the fires, and it happens every year. It's not like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that next year we're going to have fires again. We have fires, we have earthquakes, we have mudslides. That's California. You can even work out, you put in the rain, and then you go, rain, and then you're going to have mudslides after that. And then if you have an earthquake, you're going to have a lot of mudslides because it shakes it all. And then when you have the heavy rain, then you're going to have a lot of growth, and then it's going to have a drought again, and then everything dries up, and then you have fires. It's just, we've had that cycle so many times since I've been here. That's just,
it's just interesting to me because I was stationed out there, and I remember fire season is usually like September, October, because I remember for my birthday there was a big fire when I was in the military, and they like shut down the base. So we were like having a good time at our house. But
where you stay? Were you in San Diego or where were you?
I was in Camp Pendleton. I was in Camp
I was just
Pendleton,
asking.
which is it's like 40 minutes away from San Diego. So we're closer, like we're between like Carlsbad and like Dana Point.
Oh, okay. I know where you're at.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just interesting that, you know, like wildfires. So do you guys have, how long is that season? Like your wildfire season?
Well, things are, you know, the timing is changing, but right now, I mean, we had the alerts a week, 2 weeks before this first fire hit, saying all fires within LA County were prohibited, no fires, period. And because it's so dry and the winds come in, because you have the Santa Ana's coming in and it blows really heavy. So, you know, coming through some of the passes, it's 100 miles an hour wind. And so that's what you're dealing with on these fires. We had gusts up to 80 to 100 miles an hour. And so these things would just blow. And some of the embers in the Eaton fire were traveling like 1.5 miles in that heavy due to the heavy wind. But then there's also now it's just a lot of arson is coming up now as the cause of these fires.
Yeah, we posted a few pictures last night. I had gotten a call. Hey Joe, hey John. I'd gotten a call earlier in the day, and somebody said, "Hey Joe, I got a picture of a guy with a blowtorch going around setting a fire." Well, that guy got caught, and he went to jail. And I honestly think that guy was just trying to sell his own house on fire so he could collect. But then we started getting pictures. So, you know, my construction company, we use these things. They're torches that we use to put down roofs, and they're on a long wand, and they have a wide base for fire. Man, you can take those and go along like that. We use them down here. They set up with brush fires, because the difference between like what we do and they do is we actually control burn our woods down here. And we clean them out so we don't have to worry about it. Because, I mean, like in Florida, they got forests. It takes 6 hours to drive across. If something catches on fire, it's going to be hell. And everywhere around it is multi-million-dollar homes. So they're way, and we get a lot of lightning. So it's important to keep our. And I don't understand why California, because Oregon and Washington both have huge forests as well and don't seem to have this problem.
Well, it rains a lot up here.
It does. But still, a lightning in the forest can really go pretty fast. So once a fire starts, it'll dry everything out around it pretty quickly. That's
one thing that was amazing too. With the hose, we were just, because the winds were so, like we would be doing the hose out there, and when the gusts of winds come up, you go out there and we'd get drenched with the wind blowing the water back on us. Yeah. But then the leaves on the trees and the side of the building, it would dry out within just a couple of minutes. You're always constantly having to so re-wet it. Yeah.
Well, there's a great picture of a palm tree. The guy's hosing his house down, and the palm tree's on fire, but just a little ring in the middle of the tree, not the top, not the bottom. The guy's like, how he's cursing the whole time. How the bleep can it be doing this? Then there's another one with 3 palm trees on fire as the flames are whopping over the top of a McDonald's. I was thinking, you can't get better advertisement than that. Make it easy. Now they can say they have flame boiled hamburgers, right? It was just giving them a helping hand.
Joe.
I'm just saying, hey, somebody needs to help these people out.
To be able to give that, to drop that one there.
I didn't see no other hamburger joints down there catching on fire. I did. I mean, it's bad. I mean, when you look at it from above, it's nasty. It's you know, it's.
Anyway, going back to Illustrators of the Future. So I interviewed one of a winner who's going to, she's right there at, not the Atlanta Institute of Art. It's one of the institutes of art there near Atlanta, Jordan. And she's going to be doing a TV interview on Monday. So I had her on yesterday so we could drill. And so she's a senior and is really hoping, she's so excited about coming to Hollywood. She said, I'm just a little girl from Texas, and she's going to school there in Atlanta. And so I would have never thought that this is just so unreal. And I just looked at this stuff, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to meet these people, and I'm so looking forward to this. I really want to meet the other fellow artists. She is a super sweetheart, so that's like my biggest, personally, my biggest takeaway is the people I meet. Like there's some people you meet and they're just like such nice people. Like I really enjoy when I talk with you, Gigi, because you're just such a fun person, and I just wish nothing but the best for you, in your career. And some people are really communicative and caring. They're just, they're good people, and they all are that. But a person doesn't win because they've got a personality. They win because they're good artists or they're good writer. For the most part, there's a good personality that goes with it, but not always. But when it is, it's such a treat, And so I try to stay in touch with people as long as I can, as long as they're staying in touch back, with us.
Yeah.
I've got friends going back to volume 1, and it's so rewarding for me to do that, but then also see how it continues to go, because the contest has grown so much over the 4 decades. And now with winners from 50 countries and entries from 175 countries. And now we've got this author's quill, which has grown into another outlet for, the judges and winners. And we've had other writers and authors who have been impacted either directly or indirectly from Writers of the Future, that author's quill is able to,
technically this is y'all's show. I mean, John and I host it all the time, but I mean, somebody asked me about it the other day, and I said, well, really and truly, it's the guest show. And they're like, what do you know? I said, we're there just to ask questions. I said, but it's for the guest. I mean, because both of us do. I mean, I do 5 shows a week these days. And, it's, I always tell everybody, I said, no, we want these shows for them so they can talk. Because somebody had written to me a few minutes ago, were asking me questions about you, about paint mediums and stuff like that. And I wrote them back and said, I'd ask her all those questions, but I've asked that like 5 times now. I said, so go check out the archives and you can hear all the different. Actually, Jeannie, I've asked her quite personal questions. So there's like 4 archives I think I have with Gigi, maybe 5. Go check them out. And there's even some stuff we did in other places and even before Writers of the Future. So go sit and listen and learn a lot about the young lady.
Yeah. So do you do commission work too? So if somebody's listening to this, like, yeah, I'd like that.
I see you down here, Lisa.
Awesome with our Christmas art. You did awesome with our Christmas card. And is that on your Instagram page?
It's not. I haven't loaded. I feel so bad. I should have done that. I know. I thought about it. As soon as I got in, I was like, oh, I didn't post it, but I'll post it today.
Yeah, just people can see that, because that's what you do. And that's like, that was a commission piece that you did. So people looking and go like, wow, I love that kind of art, because it's a unique style that you've got.
Am I allowed to post like volume 41 illustration, or should I wait until?
Yes. Oh, okay. 41. 41.
Yeah,
no, not
41.
yet.
Okay.
Okay. We will have the cover reveal. We do the cover reveal at the end of this month, which I
know. I signed up.
Okay, good.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So once we have the cover reveal, then that can be posted. But the art for volume 41, as you know, we don't want to share that until the art reveal. The big reveal.
Of course. No, for sure.
Because that's the 2 major events of the whole workshop week. One is the art reveal and the big reveal, and then the gala. So what was it like for you? Because I always love hearing the story. What was it like for you because all the artists are standing around the side of the room with all the art on the easels there, and you're just quiet as the writers come in. So what was that like for you?
Listen, John, let me tell you. So before we lined up behind our artwork, like I would say an hour before that, there was like room for the illustrators to sit in one of the writers talks in the other room. So it was the first time we were around the other writers. So I took advantage of that. And I thought, this is fun. I think I can write a little bit. I might want to, tap into this. And I just remember sitting in the back row and I saw Lisa's hair. And for some reason I saw her and I thought, I think she's my person. I totally just
now I gotta bring her over here now.
I was like, because I saw the little she had like a purple strip, and I thought, oh, she seems fun. I think I illustrated for her. And when the talk was over, obviously the illustrators went into the other classroom or hall, and we were just standing there, not knowing who or what. And I was just watching as people came in, and I saw her, and I was just looking at her. And as she's, browsed, and she came closer and her face started to change, I was like, no way. No way. I just remember going behind her and like tapping her, and I'm like, it's me. I did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lisa Silverthorne right here, and this is who Gigi's talking about.
It was just like right on time, Lisa.
Yeah, I do have a lot of hair. It's the first thing people
Nothing
say.
wrong with that.
I just saw your little purple strip, and I thought, oh, that's so fun. I think I illustrated for her. And I did. It turned out that I did. So that's was really amazing. Fun. Yeah.
You have good instincts.
So it was exciting to I think there's like I don't think I feared her or him not acknowledging my image. I knew it takes time, but I think there is a little, anxiousness, like, oh, is it what they thought it would be? Like, did I represent the story well? Is it nice to look at?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
This one here.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
The moment I set gaze on it, I knew it was mine. It was just perfect.
Yeah, I'm so happy. And I wanted to like create something that didn't give the story away. And I think I did well with that. Like I think if anything, it triggered people to think, I need to read this story because I want to know what all of this is about.
Yeah.
So,
what's amazing to me is when I think story, I think words. I don't think images, art. So when I talk to an artist, it's like when you, like the way you're talking, it's sort of foreign to me, as a thought process. I mean, I totally love it, and I totally respect it, admire it, but I can't do that. My foray into illustration and art was such an aborted abomination of a process that when I see somebody like yourself and any of the other artists that win the contest and are judges, I'm just like, I'm in awe, that you can take that. Because I look at something and I just say, okay, so you paint the nose, you paint the lips, and it looks like some weird, like, I don't think, you look at things, you have to look at it backwards. You have to look at negative, it's all shadow, that you've got to think with on that. And I've been studying on it and just, how that works, but it doesn't mean I can translate that into actually doing something. So I can write the stuff. I don't write stories. I could, but mostly I write articles and press releases and scripts and stuff like that. But it's just, I'm just like, when I look at something, and I'm reading like a book a week right now to keep up with the podcast.
Oh,
and so, and so I have to read a lot. And so I'm thinking, I got a good imagination, and I get a lot of imagery when I read a good story. If it's a well-written story, my imagination, it's like, it goes on fire. But then take down, and if I were to try to illustrate something or let's do this little sketch of that. I was like, oh my God, you can be great in your own mind. And then when you go try to put it down there, it's like, whoa. That's just,
That's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
John, honestly, that happens to me all the time. I think I have great ideas all the time. And then I try to like sketch it out, and it's just like, what is this? What is this hot mess that I'm looking at?
Yeah.
It takes a while.
No, I'm sure it does. And Craig Elliott, nothing but respect for that man. He's the art director. He's been the art director for Netflix and then for Disney and for, I forget he's either back with Disney now or he's with another one, but he's art director. I mean, he's over all the other artists. He's like the top dog with respect to that.
I read about him as soon as you sent the link of like the cover reveal. I started Googling. I was like, okay, let's see. Craig Elliott, what does he do? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun. I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so he was he knew about the contest from the very beginning back in the 80s, and he never entered. He said, because I didn't think I was good enough. And that's one of the things that we do a lot on the media, and like, talking to both of you right now, just self-critiquing. You're your worst enemy as an artist or as a writer, and you've got to put it out there and get to the right person for the comment, because you also need to make sure you have the right people giving you commentary. It's not mom or dad or boyfriend or husband. They're going to say, if they love you, they're going to say, oh, this is awesome. This is great. You're just, I knew I married the right person. I know I'm with the right person. I know I got this, and that's totally fine. It doesn't mean you're going to have a career at it, but, so the thing with the contest that you've got with both writers and illustrators, the future is it's going to professionals, but it's also an outlet that you can submit to. And the worst that's going to happen is you get an email saying, thank you very much. Please submit again. That's the absolute worst. Nobody's going to say, look, don't give up your day job, or like, are you kidding? Or anything like that at all. That's so not what we're about. What's that?
I said, a lot of times it just feels like, you go into a workshop setting or something and people are like, you actually put this on paper? What were you thinking? And, you get this horrible critical voice that just tells you over and over, you're not good enough, and you start to believe it. And in the contest, you get this professional feedback that from a variety of, there's a subjective component, but there's still stories have to be at a certain level in order to, rise to the top. And so you don't get, you suck. It's this particular story at this time didn't quite make it. So keep trying instead of that horrible negative wail that so many writers just can't overcome.
Yeah. And I think it's important. And then even if you don't win, the fact that you're submitting and creating more art, just by the very nature of creating more art or writing more stories, you're going to be getting better. And
that story that you wrote that didn't make the cut this time might inspire you to write another story or come at it from a different angle. And that might be the one that makes, the win.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we've got some people that have entered, dozens of times before they finally won. And some people enter the first time and win. But that doesn't mean a whole lot, and there's no attention on that at the workshop or at the awards gala. And by experience, the person who's won the grand prize or the person that was the third place winner in the second quarter, they all had the same, pretty much. There's not like, oh, these people have a better chance, they have better stats afterwards than the guy that was third place winner second quarter. It's just But you say that you had the win there. If a person decides to use that, goes a long way. And it's to the point now where someone can even just say on their pitch letter, I won honorable mention in Writers of the Future. They don't say I was a reject. They say I won honorable mention in Writers of the Future, because it's known out there too that you're in the top 10 percentile. Yeah. And if that you're worth reading, you're worth checking out as an artist or as a writer. And so that's one thing too, that's over the 40, and now it's 41 years, soon to be released. It's a proven thing, and anybody that knows about the contest knows that it's blind judged. So it really is a true meritocracy, so that if you have any of those stats, certificates or whatever, it was honestly won. It wasn't because you paid $500 and got
exactly.
You got
kind of a double blind read. You just
And it's funny because even the illustrator judges and the writer judges, if you go up to them afterwards and say, yeah, I wrote blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, I like that. I didn't know who it was. You were number 76. You were number 453, because they have no idea. Because they never saw a name associated with the art or the story. And so it requires at the gala or at the meet and greet, that gets done at the where we have the hamburgers and hot dogs and all that stuff. Everybody gets together.
On the rooftop, that was fun.
Yeah, on the rooftop. Yeah. So we have
I don't want
that.
to hear about these fake ass hamburgers.
Go back to your dogs. So,
that's what got me to see the dog herd hamburger, man. They're like, whoa, wait a minute now. What's going on around here?
No.
They
No,
tease me these hamburgers.
we get some good stuff there that we serve. We don't serve the Mickey D's stuff. It's all we go to Louisiana to get some grass-fed stuff and bring it back over there and import it here to LA.
I like a good Mickey D's burrito. Other than that, I don't know, but
No, I haven't had Mickey D's for 20 years, whatever. We had a story here after one of the Rise to the Future events where we got some McDonald's and someone left one on a ledge. And a week later, it was still there. It looked just like it did the night that it was gotten. And the ants were going up and they walked around it and kept on going.
They're not eating that stuff. That sounds bad for you, man.
No.
Okay, that's
not good enough. It's good enough for people, not good enough for ants.
Yeah. Jeez.
Anyway, so that's the thing about the contest is that's what we try to do. And people that are listening, you've got Gigi that was an illustrator winner and Lisa was a writer winner. It's what it actually does, and we've been talking to Gigi about some of the effects of it. You really do get that vote of confidence, and there's a lot of doubt because these are they're solo careers. When you're an artist or a writer, you're in a room by yourself with a paintbrush or with your Wacom, working away in your typewriter or keyboard, and that's your thing. So you kind of like, what am I doing any good at all? And it doesn't go away. You still talk to Tim Powers after 40 years. He still sometimes when he comes out, okay, we'll see.
It's very easy to lose perspective because, like you said, it's all you have. It's just you and your keyboard, and you look at something and you're like, does this even work? Does it even hold together? And so that's
important to have a family or I've heard different things. The Rise of the Future, we definitely consider it a family, and Superstars, it's a tribe. Different things have their different ways of calling their group, but that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on is that we try to keep everybody together and just reinforce. And if somebody really wants to make a go of it, we're totally with you. If someone says, "Okay, good, I'm on my own now, I don't want anything else," and that's fine too. That's not right. There's no commitment at all. It's just that we're there trying to help the arts, and especially in various times. Like it's interesting that after World War I, before World War II, and the Depression, and you had the Spanish flu, things were devastated, and so you had pulp fiction then. It was called escapist fiction. People could read it, and for a little bit they'd be someplace else, So they'd read their pulp stories. They look at their illustrations done by their favorite artists, and for a little bit they were like they could either identify as the hero, they could be someplace else. And they were able to survive. And then when it's over, they go back to reality. But for a little bit there, they can just chill. And that's what you got right now. Also, the value of like good science fiction and fantasy, which is what I actually think we do, because we don't do the heavy duty stuff. There's no it's like PG-13 type stuff that we do, but the art is all great art. And it's something people can just enjoy and just like, wow, that was really cool. I really love this. And we always get amazing reviews, and we always win great awards every year. The book always gets at least one or two best of either science fiction or fantasy or anthology from the various contests. And I just had the publisher of Forward magazine on as a guest, and that's the one that just went up today or yesterday. And she says, look, Rise of the Future is a known thing. You're always winning awards on our annual contest. It's good. You're just one of the good ones out there. And so we pride ourselves on it, but that's, as a winner, you can pride yourself also in that, because it is in a league of its own as writers on Illustrators of the Future. In that volume, it is the best-selling anthology, and it's quite a feather in your cap to be able to say that you won it. Yeah,
it's definitely an honor, and I know I'm always proud every time I see the book to know that I was that my story was selected to be a part of this group, because the other writers, their stories are so good. And when you see your story among them, it does something for you. It just changes your whole viewpoint on your writing.
And that's the idea on it too, is like, we try to do a lot of things to help encourage and give you that vote of confidence that you won because you're good. So your self-doubt's not going to stay away forever, but at least for a little bit, you can kind of know that people are there. They're celebrating you. That's why they come there, to be able to meet you and celebrate you. And when they applaud for you, it's because you've done something, one, that they can't do, or that they have done. Now they're anxious to see the next, who's the next group of winners that's I'm going to be reading down the road and wanting to maybe, hire to do my artwork. So it's why these shows that we're doing right now, and it's so cool that Joe set this up to have the Author's Quill, because it's an opportunity for people listening, because we're almost up to 3 million listens now per episode, Joe.
Wow. Yeah, and the show, I mean, really truly, we designed this show because eventually we know y'all gonna have art or books for sale. Yeah. And we needed a place on a network that we could sell stuff, because like news on the flip side, I can invite y'all on it and you'll probably have a lot of fun on the show, but you're not going to sell any books on it, because the show is it's just designed to be trouble. Let's just put it like that. UFO on the cover, unless you're doing UFO stuff, nobody's going to be interested. Matter of fact, they're going to be bitching at me going, Joe, this isn't about UFOs. What are you doing? I guarantee you.
Which is what happened, because that's when, before we started the show, he was taking all the other shows. He said, what's this?
Yeah, so we designed a show that we could have, people that could come on who were in the fields and could come talk and have a place. And we figured eventually, a year or two after having it, it'll be a place that we can sell stuff at. Not us personally, but the people coming on, because I can invite you on Science and Beyond, but really, you're not going to sell nothing. They're going to be going, Joe, what's this got to do with science? Are they drawing like scientific stuff? Are they writing science? Let me tell you what, our audiences are very vocal. They have no qualms writing to me and saying stuff to me, especially because, the network's 25 years old now. So we've got people who grew up with us, and they have no problem writing in and going, oh, well, Joe, they used to call me Mr. No, Joe. They just call me Joe. Joe, are you, what's wrong with this? Did you say politics on this show? I'm like, no. And if I say it on this one, oh my God. I had people write me in 10 minutes. And it's hard. And John will tell you, it's hard on me because Friday night I do 4 hours of news and politics on News on the Flip Side. And it's not always politics, but it's always news. So it's hard to go from going on there to here.
So I'm always the one saying there, yeah, and speaking of books, speaking of art.
Sorry, we had the alarm system went off, as you could hear my 2 alarms going off there. Up there they go again.
Yeah, it's Chihuahua alarms.
Yeah, and they're good alarms, buddy. Let me tell you what, anything gets around my house. The problem with Chihuahuas is they can hear like 5 miles away. And one of my other ones used to howl in the middle. Like, what the hell are you howling at, dog? Because, in the old days, old timers would tell you when a dog howled at night, somebody died. Well, nobody even lived around me back then. This dog get to howl. I'm like, what? And 5 minutes later, you'd hear the ambulance or the fire truck come by. Ooh, that's what he was howling at.
Oh, wow.
That's how far away he heard it. I was like, these two, because, it's gotten more populated around here now. Certain noises sets them off. They just can't take it. If they hear anything underneath my house, oh, no.
Yeah, we can't with the Chihuahuas. We're big dog.
Oh, I used to that's all I ever had was big dogs. And then my middle stepdaughter, one afternoon just brought my wife a little brown Chihuahua. Like, what is this? This don't even look like a Chihuahua. What the hell kind of dog is this? And he turned out to be a giant Chihuahua. By the way, he was 18 pounds.
Oh,
he was a big ass Chihuahua, and I was like, "You sure?" Because I thought he was like a Jack Terrier or something, a Russell or something. I'm like, what the hell kind of dog? That was it. We ain't had a big dog since. Now that's after those 2 passed away, we got these 2, and then they're both females, and they are bad, spoiled bad. I mean, they are rotten bad. Them dogs are. My kids and grandkids.
You taught them everything you know. I realize that. Okay, good.
No, but I do let them sleep with me, so I'll get up in the morning, be one on my chest, one on my leg.
You let them sleep with you. they let you sleep in the bed.
That's pretty much the truth. Because I will catch myself. You know, we've got an effing California king, right? I mean, yeah, California king's a big ass bed. My wife and I will both wake up on opposite sides of beds on the edge of the beds.
I have cats, as you can see.
Well, cats are just as bad. They'll take up the bed too.
I'm so allergic. My husband is dead.
I am too. I'm actually very allergic. I just take.
You know, my wife was, but for some reason the Himalayans don't give off the dandruff that you're allergic to. We found out by accident. That's how we found out by accident. My aunt had just given me a Himalayan seal point, and the other cat we had to get rid of because she was coughing, sneezing, hacking. And I came home and found this one. I'm like, oh man, I called my aunt and said, I'm having to get a cave. My wife's allergic. Not only was she wasn't allergic, the damn cat, she was the only one that could bathe the cat, brush the cat, blow dry the cat. I tried it. Oh no, it was World War III, buddy. It was going to be a fight.
I have a tortoise shell that's half Himalayan, and she kind of turned the corner allergy-wise for me. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be having to take shots.
I don't know what it is. I asked a vet about it one time. He says just their dandruff's different. She said they still contains more of the wild cat than they do the tame cat. And I'm like, really? He said, yeah, because actually in Himalaya they have this particular breed. It's actually a real breed. And I was like, oh, okay. Really smart too. Well, I know. I didn't know nothing about the cat when I got it.
I didn't either. I didn't know mine was half Himalayan because she's a tortoise shell.
You ever notice? Because Himalayans don't purr like a normal cat and they don't growl like a normal cat. They sound more like they might hurt you.
You can hear her all over the house.
That's I guess because there was still a wild cat in them is still in there, but they're beautiful cats though. They're great.
Yeah, they are. They're sweet too. Yes. Mine sleeps with me too. Correction.
Make something good to draw, man. They're pretty, all fluffy and hairy and stuff. What's that, Jesse? No. Lisa's a writer. Gigi is an illustrator or an artist, I should say.
It's the law that if you're a writer, you have to have a cat. So
yes. Well, you know what? Pretty much all the authors I know, with the exception of two who have big dogs, have cats. And I've interviewed a bunch of authors in the last 10 years, man. I mean, between the writers and futures authors and the normal ones we do, well over 200 authors now. And probably more than that if I got right down to it. And a lot of them have cats. Not only that, a lot of them have cats. And like you see how I have my dog with me just now? A lot of you'll see the cat sitting up against their shoulder. Two of my hosts, I got to tell them.
Her cats, Jody Lanai, she's got all of her cats, and she writes books about them. And then the one that's got the Nettie, a core for her cat. I don't know what kind that is. That's he's got the big head and the huge ears, and it's like no fur.
Oh, a Sphinx cat?
Yeah.
Is it naked?
Yeah, it's naked cat.
They actually require a lot of work because they have to
I heard.
a lot. And
their skin is you know, I kind of miss my big dogs every once in a while. I used to load up my P-Rog with the kids and grandkids and stuff. And I had this big monster dog, and I'd hook him up to it and let him pull him up and down the levee, down the beach. It was like they didn't even know the boat and the kids were about to. He'd just be whoosh, whoosh. Kids be hanging on for dear life. I don't know. It's kind of funny and cool at the same time, I think. But
I just haven't owned one for a long time.
Yeah, but no, after that, apartment living's what made me give it to big dogs.
Yeah.
Years in an apartment.
I don't live in a house, which
that's what made me go to cats. Yeah, and then I had just bought a duplex from a really nice 3,000 square foot duplex that my stepdaughter decided to give my wife the dog. I was like, what is that? And the little shit, I said, the dog's not going to sleep in a bed. Don't even need to sleep in our room. Oh no, he would crawl through the little gate. Somehow he could squeeze through the little gate. He would claw himself up the couch and then leap to the bed, and he couldn't make the jump, so he'd be like hanging on the side of the bed, yelping and yapping and shit, trying to crawl up in the bed. I'm like, I'm going to kill this dog. You know, I'm going to kill this dog. And this is right after Katrina, so we were like super freaking busy. We were working 16, 18, so I was like, I'm going to kill a dog, you know it, right? Oh, no.
You picked up the dog and you put it on the bed between you.
No, so what would happen is she would put him in bed. She'd put him in the bed, and I would wake up in the morning. He'd be like underneath.
Staring at you.
I mean, literally, he'd be. So after a while, I got used to him, and then I'd catch myself waking up with my hand on top of him, even scratching him on the chest when I'd wake up in him. I'm like, what? So I was trained. I was the pet here, not the owner.
There's nothing like waking up having that feeling that somebody's staring at you and your animal.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, where's
Would
my
you would you say that, like, because I haven't read obviously your stories, like, do you have a lot of stories that have to do with cats? Is the cat your muse, or
Actually, no.
okay.
I had never written a story about a cat until the cat needed to be in the story. It was a
nice.
plot device. And then I have maybe 5 stories that I've written
Sean.
that have cats in it. There were some anthologies that came out a few years ago, like Year of the Cat, and so I have a few stories in those. But and then one of the novels I have, there's a ghost cat in that. But again, she needed to be there.
Yeah.
But I like cats, but I'm not like a cat collector, somebody who collects cat things. Does that make sense?
Okay. Oh, okay. Do you have you written anything new, like in these past, like since the last time? When was the last podcast? It was like a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, like 5-6 months. Huh?
Yeah. So have you written anything new since then?
I finished 2 novels, and I've written, let's see, 4 or 5 short stories. So,
wow.
So are you publishing? Are you doing Amazon, or are you going through an indie publisher like with Dean?
I'm kind of a hybrid. With the short stories, I tend to traditionally publish. So they end up in. I like to submit to anthologies because I like the challenge of writing to a theme in a short period of time. But with novels, I don't know. I just decided to go the indie route because I had more control and more. I got more royalties from the books. So so I do. I've been doing. This is the latest one that I have that came out. That it's a special edition hardcover.
Yeah.
So
was that a Kickstarter or?
Yeah, it started as a Kickstarter and it's supposed to come out next month. But that's kind of my thing. I like to do these. I did the work on this myself. So
you did the cover as well?
Yep, I did the cover. I did the in papers, the layout, the whole thing.
Wow, cool! And wrote the book too.
I really enjoy doing these. They're fun. And then I did this.
So how did somebody find these books?
They were released. This book came out in September. This one will be released in February. And then book 2 of this one, I'm getting ready to launch a Kickstarter in a couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find them on Amazon?
Amazon, they're all wide. So Apple, Amazon, Google Play, pretty much Barnes and Noble, any of those places you can find my novels.
Are they Audible?
No, they're not Audible yet because I haven't made that move because it's very expensive. And
wow, I'm a reader. I am a reader, but I love a good audio. So yes.
Too.
I get that question a lot, and I would love to be able to say, yes, they're all on audio, but that's been a stumbling block for me to get them out there.
Have you thought of doing it yourself?
Yes, I have actually. I'm actually a voice actor in training just for that reason.
Okay, yeah.
Myself, but there's only so many hours in a day, and when you're doing all the the graphical design and publishing and writing, I need more hands and more hours.
Yeah.
Kind of a one-person show here, so.
Yeah.
But I've got another novel that's going to come out. It's in the final pass, so I wrote that one. I guess that was the second novel I wrote, so that'll be out sometime this year as well. It'll be number 12 of number 13. So there's one more book in the series.
Well, one of your stories is an audiobook, though, Lisa. In this audiobook here, which exists. So
that audiobook is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing job on all the stories, and I love listening to mine. It was so so
yeah, Summer of 30 Years was so good.
emotional.
That was, I think that was done by Taylor Mescom. I think she's the one that read it. She's the daughter of Jim and
That's what I thought. She did a wonderful job. I
yeah,
just
she's
love
really
the
good.
emotion that she brought to the whole story.
Yeah,
Just
it was really good. And just
really got it.
Cameron and Taylor's just such an artistic family, and so we're getting ready to record. I have volume 41 that just came to me last night to do the final proofread, and then I'll do one more review when I get the final thing out of the QC, and then it goes to press, and I'm really looking forward to reading all the stories. But then we're going to go immediately into recording the audiobook as soon as I sign off on the book, and it'll be we'll have that ready to release right when the book does for the event.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so
I'm
we're definitely
envious.
yeah, but I mean, it still came out. It just came out a month later, but it was, it's just an awesome audiobook what these guys did with. We had 4 different voices because we also had the one British story that we had a British actor. Yeah, and she did great
Victoria?
with. Yeah, Victoria Summer.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and that was the story with the.
I love the radio play that they did. That was one of the highlights of the week. It was brilliant. I just loved every minute of it.
We do that every year. That's like Rob Sawyer. That's his favorite part of. He loves radio theater. Scott Card loves it.
And the actors just nailed it. It was such a pleasure to watch them as it was to listen to them.
Yeah, well, these are working stiffs. These are working actors. They're Hollywood actors. They do the TV and movies.
Yeah, I see them every time. Sometimes I'm flipping channels. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I recognize them.
Yeah,
it's really
so they're definitely working actors, and they love the L. Ron Hubbard stories, since they love doing these things here because they're so evocative. The stories that he wrote in all these stories from the Golden Age, and they say it's so easy and to get the voice and get the character because his ability to get voice right, and when he wrote the stories, makes it really easy for them to do the stuff. Even if it's back in the 40s or 50s, they still, they can create that mock-up.
I thought that story still held power even today, and you could tell they were having so much fun.
Yeah,
they were just a joy to watch.
Well, they're all live actors, and plus it's a special audience when you have all the actors performing for writers and artists. It's a different type of an audience, so they know that you've got people there that will be that much more impressed with a good performance because they themselves are creatives, So when you get people that are when they can perform for people that can appreciate art, they really just crank it up.
Yeah, they were just brilliant. They were just brilliant.
And it's different when you do an audiobook. When you do radio theater, normal audiobooks are done single person in a booth at a time, and then afterwards it gets mixed. And so if you have multiple people, that gets mixed afterwards. So with everybody on stage, they play off each other, so it tends to amp it up just a little bit.
That's what I like, the playing off each other.
Yeah.
And if somebody makes a mistake and just watching somebody take
they just write over it. Yeah, they just write over it because these are all pros.
Exactly.
They did their one rehearsal and there they go.
They were off and running. They were hysterically funny.
Definitely. So I'm not sure what we're going to have for the story this year, but we'll have another one, in April 10th when we have this year's event. But anyway, so it's earlier this year. So we went over with Gigi. We just got into the part about, the art reveal, just as you came on board when she was talking about that pleasure moment of her life. And then, so I'm just curious, looking back at it now, because now it's been almost, 10 months at least, since it happened. What do each of you remember most about that week? What stands out the most? Not just the thing, but whatever stands out the most. And then also, if there's any particular, because I've also found too, when I do my podcast interviews, that the LRH, the Hubbard essays, they change. And when I first finished, it was this one here, but now a year later, it's gone to this one here. It's a different one because as the career has grown. So I'm just curious from either of you.
It
So
was
you
a
want to
magical
first?
week. Go for it.
Oh no, you could go ahead. Yeah, you could
Okay.
go ahead.
It was a magical week. There were some amazing highlights, like the artwork. That was such a surprise, and I'm glad no one ruined that, because just walking into the room and just seeing your story come to life. Also hearing from all the huge names in writing, just getting their take on writing. I mean, everybody's different, but listening, being this close to Orson Scott Card talking about writing, and Tim Powers, and then listening to the different viewpoints about indie publishing versus traditional, and then getting craft, and then going off and writing a 24-hour story. Just it hit all the things that maybe I can't put into words sometimes, but you hit every facet of what it's like to be a writer, and you get that experience, but you also get to feel that success, and you get to feel celebrated, and you feel like it was the first time I really felt like a professional writer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
From the gala to the signing, just to everything. And there's such a positive spin on it that, when you leave there, you carry that with you. And when times get tough and you've got 6 rejections in 1 week, and you're just like, why am I doing this? And then you think back to those magic moments of when, you had your story out there, when you were standing on that stage, when they gave you this amazing award. When you hold this in your hand, you look at it again, and suddenly those rejections don't seem to be quite so painful, and the road is a little bit easier to walk. So it's one of those experiences that I will always carry with me. And even when it's darkest as a writer, I can go back to those moments and kind of wrap them around me like a warm blanket and say, you can't hurt me, because I'm still a writer.
Yeah, it's still your name on that trophy.
Exactly. Nobody's ever going to take my name off this trophy. Well, they might, but I know that my name is still on this trophy.
Exactly. Yeah. What about you, Gigi?
I've said this before, or maybe I haven't, but one of the biggest things for me, as someone who works with a lot of different mediums, I like working with my hands. I like doing the digital thing. I remember attending art school back in 2013. And I laid out my portfolio to one of my professors, and I had a lot of stuff going on, acrylic, watercolor, charcoal, and all this stuff. And he told me, he's like, you're doing too much. You need to focus on one thing, because people don't like to see different or like a variation of work, right? And I thought, well, I don't think that's true. I think being versatile is really important. Well, I mean, fast forward into the future, now that is a thing, right? Like, you have to be able to tap into all these worlds. But because my professor planted that seed in my mind,
that voice is in your office now.
It's in my head, right? So I'm constantly like, no, I got to focus on oils. No, I got to focus on digital. No, I got to focus on this. And going to Hollywood and having these wonderful art talks with different artists from different backgrounds was great. But it was even more great when we had certain artists that did different things, a variety of things, that worked with clay, that worked with environments, that did concept art, that did, editorials. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy.
No, like Craig Elliott. Craig Elliott is amazing. All the stuff he does echoes, just phenomenal what she does.
Yeah.
All kinds of things all over the place. She says you got to go, you got to be able to juggle and move around. Like, right now I need this thing.
You totally have to be able to just like bend. You know, in the Marine Corps, they call it semper gumby, you know, always be flexible. So it's just
I
like,
love that.
it's really nice. It was nice to be around other illustrators that were just like, I guess, starting or were kind of in that, you know, I don't know what to do. And then just standing or having professional artists or professional illustrators kind of just be so relatable to like my own situation. There's a few artists that, you know, they went to school for illustration. I went to school for illustration. And then they got out of school and they were like, I don't know anything. I have not been taught the things that I want to learn to be able to do comic books or concept art, right? And, you know, before going to Hollywood, I've thought of, man, maybe I need to study under a master, but I didn't know that existed still, you know, like, I wish I can study under someone. And
the mentor system.
Yeah. And, you know, like some of the artists, they're like, yeah, I went to school, I got my degree, but I went back and I went to an atelier and I like really focused on my work and I got better. And now, you know, I have opportunities with DC and Disney and all these other places. And it's just like, yeah, of course, like you have to continue learning. And I'm someone that loves to learn. So yeah, you know, like I think, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, I'm not shutting down graphic design. I think graphic design is very valuable. It pays the bills. You know, there's a certain type of person that's really, really great at that. But I feel like my talent sits in illustration and art and narrative and, yeah, what an opportunity to just be exposed to people that are in that world and are successful and have relationships, right? I think we get sucked in working in a vacuum and it's just being isolated. And you know, you mentioned, John, earlier where, you know, family, community is like really important to ignite that fire. I mean, I had, you know, that lunch or dinner with Steve Bentley, and it's like instantly I was like, oh, I remembered, like, oh my God, we were around a lot of great people and I need to get to work, you know? So yeah, being exposed to just other people and having community and even coming back and checking in and still being welcome to participate in Comic Cons or the cover reveal. And like, that's so fun, you know? And I hope that, you know, someday I can be that person for somebody else, you know, and ignite them and let them know, like, yeah, you know, it's not linear, and just create and be you and just love the process, you know? So yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, I cut myself off. I'm done.
No, that's totally cool. And that's part of why too, because I'm always thinking of the future and putting the future there for both contests. So I've got to do that. You know, it's unfortunate, you know, that people eventually leave, you know, just bodies are that way. So it's so I'm always just keeping lines with people and see how things grow and things evolve, and some things usually it doesn't, but whenever it does, then I've got those relationships. Like I don't know, you've met B. Jackson, right? Did you meet her?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. And her career, I mean, she grew up in the total poor section of Detroit. And when she won and got the grand prize at $5,000, she was able to get stuff that she could never afford. She could never afford a computer, you know, or anything, that type of stuff at all. It was just like, just super poor. And she got a big break when she just, you know, the whole thing of networking, because that's a key part of what you learn at Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future. So there's a gal that she had work she couldn't do. So, okay, here, maybe you could do this. And so she gave her that job, and just kind of like, so she was trying and got some work that way, kept going. And then she has a very specific type of illustration that she does, that children's stuff with the fairies and whatnot. So she was doing this stuff, and she was trying to send it out and said, we don't have a use for that. We don't have a need for that. And then finally somebody saw on Facebook or Instagram, one of the pages, and a friend helped connect her with one of the art directors at, I think, Simon & Schuster. And so she got, her big breakout story was the Michelle Obama book. The one on, that one there. So she illustrated that, and that just like opened up. And just last week, she released her own book. Because published by Simon & Schuster, because she said, look at, what do you want? Says, because they knew they have to keep her because she's a hot commodity. Yeah. She's done I think 3 New York Times bestsellers that she's illustrated. Wow. So, but I really want to do my own book. So she wrote it, she illustrated it, and it published this last week. I don't know how it did. I'm going to find out when the next when the next book scan report comes out. But she is so humble. She's just such a, I stayed in touch with her for, she was volume 24, I think. So for like 15 years, I just continued to stay in touch with her. And finally I said, okay, good. So she had a couple New York Times bestsellers, and I invited her then to become a judge. And, but she's great. And the same thing with Nettie. I was tracking with her. She was volume 19, I think. And I kept on tracking with her for 15, 20 years before finally inviting her, just because her career was building up. But also, there's all types of characteristics that like to help other writers, other artists, and stuff, various things. But it's, that's the whole thing of family, just, the whole thing of pay it forward and help the next guy, and just, like what you do there, keeping the flame alive, and just, and then tell other people about it, because it's, it's free to enter and it's nothing to lose. And, you have a lot to gain that you can share with people.
Definitely. I already have like 2 people, and they're writers. They're not illustrators. Like 2 writers that I know, and, they heard about my experience and they were asking me questions, and I didn't know they were submitting work. And then I think recently one of my friends submitted, I didn't know. And then she got an honorable mention, and I said, just keep doing it. Keep sending. So yeah, it's really fun to like be that inspo for somebody to just do it. We get caught up in perfectionism and, it's not the way, but like, just send it out. So
exactly. And it's, even if you're worried about, I don't want somebody to think badly about me, the judges have no idea who you are. All the judges ever see is your art or your story in a number. They don't even know your name. So if you're worried about, I don't want to ruin my career, have a bad first impression. Don't worry, your first impression is safe until you actually win.
Your ego is safe.
Your ego is safe.
No one knows who you are.
Your number changes every quarter, so so they don't know even your number.
Anyway, so so then Gigi definitely reached back after this, so we can then work out setting up there for Dragon Con in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm so interested in Dragon Con and the Salt Lake City. I think there's enough, like, I think they're like 1 month apart. So I was interested in FanX.
About 3 weeks.
Yeah.
One's at the beginning of the month, one's at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's,
for sure. Do I contact Emily for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to
she's
her.
doing that planning. We're getting ready to go in a couple weeks. We're going to go to Colorado Springs for Superstars, where we teach there at that as the writing conference. And then the following week, a few days later, we go to Provo, Utah for Life, the Universe, and Everything. And we have several seminars and workshops we deliver there too. So that's part of the continuation, what we like to do with Writers of the Future, just to help the aspiring writer and artist. And that's what those things are all built around.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the FanX conference.
It's a lot of fun. I met a lot of people while I was there. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to go this past year, but it didn't happen. By the time I realized how close it was like
Mhm.
maybe next year.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going this year because my boy who does our lightsabers is supposed to be back there this year. So,
Oh, good.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I think he said he's going to be at Dragon Con, so I'm waiting to hear about it. Well, he's in the UK, so it's not like it's a little trip for him.
Oh yeah, that's a major
Yeah.
journey.
But he was talking about he can come spend a month and go to Dragon Con and go to FanX and maybe catch a couple other things while he's down here. Because they fly over, they bring, I think he says like 1,100 or 1,500 lightsabers with them, and they have
Wow.
another like 3,000 shipped over.
And you
And
can't have too many lightsabers.
Right.
they used to, well,
can't.
you can't. I got one sitting right next to me, which you can't
Crazy.
see.
If you don't take home a
What
lifesaver.
another one?
Well, I went to go buy a lightsaber. Is what happened. I was going to go buy one so I could torture Emily with it, and so I was standing there talking to the girl's telling me all this stuff, and she says, "Which one you like?" I said, "That silver one right there." And she goes, "You want the glass tip on, or you want the plastic?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, the glass is very fragile, so I touched it and it was going ding, ding, ding." I said, "And they got what they call the fighting tip." I said, "No, put that one on there. Because if not, I would have broke it 2 dozen times since then. I have banged on stuff. I've attacked the dogs with it. My stepdaughter and I have had saber fights in the middle of the hallways and shit. So yeah, it would be destroyed. So
Awesome.
We
yeah,
have
so I
work
can
guns
tell
here.
y'all,
My husband has work.
it's I gotta get batteries.
We have your guns here, so
See, it's
I don't
it's
know.
right
Our
here.
lights help me.
Mine's over there.
It's right here. So, but I got real swords in the house too, so I can always get. I got a
Ooh,
nice.
large sword collection. I've been collecting them for about 30 years now, and
I
I got
even
some
have
really
a
nice
Yogi
ones.
helmet.
Yeah, I've got some nice ones, and I've got some crappy ones.
Skyrim. Yeah.
Now it's funny when I bought my first set. When I bought my first real set, it cost me about $300. That same set today is almost $9,000. I was like, get out of here.
That's
And,
incredible.
but I've also found them at the flea market for $30 a set and stuff like that. So yeah, I
Wow.
try to buy all three of them, in case one day I decide to do Harry Carey. I want to have the right sword. Makes a difference.
Joe,
I'm just saying, just in
you're
case.
doing so good there for a bit.
Just
You went
in
for a
case.
whole 3
Look, I'm
minutes.
not the one living in hell, buddy. You're the one over there living in hell. We see where you live.
You're right,
So when we
Coach.
say John's married to the Satan's stepdaughter, we know now it's true because we see what's going on. What's that
John's
called?
gonna
No,
attach a little like buzzer on you to like zap you.
Exactly.
no, Jesse. John
No,
actually lives in that.
I'll just have this clip here at 1:47. I'll have Emily listen to it, and then when she sees you next, that sword that
Emily
you sent
knows
to her
I
is
love
going to be get some exercise.
Matter of fact, I posted just yesterday. I posted the first picture I ever took of her online. I can't let her see it, but it's online. I didn't know who she was. How was I supposed to know? I was just snapping pictures, man.
Yes,
that's not
yes,
true.
yes.
I knew who she was. No, Jesse. No, I was just saying that John lives in LA. And that's why I've been giving you trouble. Yeah, he's right there by the fire. All that stuff you've been seeing posting across my Facebook pages, half of that came from him. Yeah, that's where it's coming from. So, no, he's right there. They're hopefully it's going to go the other way now. I know
Yeah.
they said y'all got some wind coming up during the middle of the
Yeah,
week.
we got,
So.
and we don't have rain for another 10 days, so that's unfortunate.
Oh,
But
wow.
I wish I could say that. We've had rain every other freaking. Just so we just kind of luck we got all last week, 28 degrees, no rain, no nothing. First day it rains, oh no, it's going to be 40, so no snow, no ice, no nothing. Now go up North Mississippi, they got a foot of snow. Now next week it's going to be 24 all week, but no rain. The day it's going to rain next week, it's going to be 71. So it's going to go from 25 to 71. It's like a roller coaster when you live down here this time of year. Usually our temperature is 61 in January, but every now and about every third year we get a couple of really cold weeks, and then all of a sudden we start getting this real cold day, real hot day, real cold day, real hot day, real cold day, real. I mean, when I'm talking sometimes 50 degrees difference in temperature. It'd be 25 one day, 80 the next day. You're kind of like, really? And you wonder why half the state's in the hospital? Come on. It's insane. I mean, you get used to it eventually, but we have 2 seasons a year where there's about a month where it's just hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. and you're kind of like, and spring's the worst because spring it'll get really cold. It's actually snowed more times in spring than it has in winter, and it'll be snow. I'm not kidding you. Last time it snowed 8 inches. The next day, it was 86 degrees.
Wow.
I was like, so by the evening, all the snow was gone. We're all like, the night before, it was 14. You're like, come on.
That's crazy.
And that's how it's going to be next week. So it's going to be cold all week. And then I think the following week, we're going to be in the low 70s to high 60s. What can you do? It's part of living in the South. It's a roller coaster. I know we got to get out of here, but y'all ladies, y'all got anything y'all want to plug before we go? Anybody want to tell where you're going to be or hiding out at or anything good?
You can come see me in Dragon Con. I think that's like in August, September.
Yeah, the first week of September, if I remember right. Usually it's the first week of September.
And then your Instagram, Gigi, or is it where's the best place people can see your art and just get an idea if they want to hire you or not and commission you for your work?
So yes,
especially once you post the Christmas card you did for us.
Yes, post.
That's what I was about to say. I have to post that. So I will be posting today. But you can find me on Instagram. It's Gigi_hoopstar. So yeah, you can find me on there. And my website's the link is at the top. So you could just go on Instagram and then click to my website, which is just gigihooper.com.
Great.
Easy enough.
And Lisa?
My biggest thing is a Kickstarter coming up at the end of the month for book 2 of my romantasy series, Kirsten Brown.
Call Carmen when you do the Kickstarter. Give them to put you on for an hour, so at least you can let people know that it's available to Kickstarter. Because we have a lot of people that do the Kickstarters and the GoFundMe's come across the site.
Wow!
I don't know if it'll help you, not Annie, but you never. It's always plus it's going to go in the archive. So
that's really cool. It launches on the 21st of January. So,
the day for my birthday, damn.
But your website is what?
It's lisasilverthorne.com. Silverthorne with an E. So I try to post everything that's going on there. So if you're looking for news or books, that's where you'll find it. Lisa.
That's all your stuff's also on Amazon too, right?
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, whatever your favorite online retailer is. You can find my novels. I have almost 30 out there. So
that's great. Well, good. It's been great seeing you both, ladies. And
yeah, it was wonderful seeing you guys too.
Yeah. I'll be seeing you during the cover reveal.
I know. Look forward to seeing you, Gigi, and hope you can make it too, Lisa. That's the end of the month.
I need to sign up, but I'll be there too.
Okay, great. And you can be there, Joe?
I'm always there. What are you talking about? I just carried. I just never say anything.
The end of the month.
Just send me the invite, sign up, but you got to make sure you send me the invite, right? So it picks up on the service, right?
All righty, ladies.
We'll be there. Well, guys and girls, we got to get out of here. I got to go get a Coke and something, and then I got a show coming up. I'm back on air in an hour, so I got to get my brain straight. It's a different kind of show, so I got to change personalities for this other. Plus, there's 5 hosts on this show, so it gets a little insane.
Oh wow!
Well, 2 of our shows we've been looking for female hosts to join the how can I say this politely, the strange guys that host. So it was hard. I mean, because somebody said, "Oh, y'all going to be talking about politics," and sometimes we do, but most of the time, like on the chat, it could be anything. But on the Friday night show, most of the time it's just news, and we're just discussing the news. Like last night was the fires, both in California and the Bronx, and then a little bit about what's going on, and of course we have to talk about Uncle Trump because he's going to be in office in a few days, but. So that always comes in there. And then, it's hard on us because my network isn't a cookie cutter network. So we have a large variety of views politically and religiously. So having a panel together can get, how can I say this, interesting.
Crazy.
Well, like a good friend of mine, Jeffrey, he's the biggest Joe Biden supporter I've ever met. One of my other friends is the biggest Trump, and they're on the same show with us. And I get in between, because I can hate on both of them evenly. So it's anyway, it gets a little crazy sometimes, but for the most part, though, we're not really looking to be absolutely crazy. We're just really looking to put out a more level news. Because like the election show, we did 5.5 million views. we put several big networks to shame, both in the amount of listeners we had, amount of viewers we had, and the overall performance of the network, because we didn't get emotional at all, whatever side you were on. Now, see, like tonight, though, we're going to be talking about what? The meltdown of the 2024 election for the poor Democrats who had to be on air as, they were calling the states. It could have been the other way. It could have been their GOP like it was in 2020. We had to do that. So this time it's going to be the opposite. It was, I will say this, it was entertaining. Whatever side you were on, it was entertaining. Yeah. It was Lester Holt. I thought he was just going to start crying. I'm like, Lester, you okay, man? Calm down there, buddy. It's only 4 years, man. Just calm down. Calm down. That's why we only do presidents for 4 years, man. Just calm down. There was some. I mean, some of them were quite professional, but some of them were just like some of the stuff that was said too. I was like, God, you can't say that about people, man. It's just wrong on so many levels. It's a lot of fun, though. It really is, and we have a good time. So if y'all ever meet any girls that are interested, because like I said, and you can't be bashful with this group of people, or you'll never get to say anything. So they're all very strong-willed, and Leah hosts with us sometime, and she's a host in training. She's 39ish, is outside of Chicago, but she used to host with me in her 20s on a political show, so she's got a little more experience in how to fight with people. She's a she's a centrist like I am, but she's a left-leaning centrist, whereas I'm really a true centrist. I'm an equal opportunity hater is what I am, but still. I love both. I can find
equal opportunity hater.
That's what I said. I'm an equal opportunity hater. Yeah. I don't want to hate on one side more, because let's be honest, both sides got a lot of improvements.
Joe, you can make a decision. You need to decide. Yeah. Pick a side.
Nah, because every time I pick a side, they just disappoint me. So I used to pick a side, but every time I pick somebody, I started out as a Democrat, went to the GOP, and then I said, "The hell with this, man! I'm getting out of this party system stuff. I can't take this," because you never know which one's going to say the most moronic thing. I mean, some of the stuff, like when I heard AOC say, "Oh, well, let's." You can fix the rockets at night when the sun's off. Y'all can go right and park at the sun and fix the satellite in front of the sun while it's off, because it's nighttime. I'm thinking, what? You did not just say that. You just not say the sun turns off. There's no way you could have been that. And then she said something even stupider just recently. I'm like, okay, how you got in Congress is beyond me. But then I hear, like, what's that? Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says some dumb shit. So I mean, it's it doesn't matter what side you want to be on. There's going to be somebody ignorant on both sides. And so I just got to the point where I just would rather hate and have some fun at somebody else's expense.
Spread the hate evenly.
But I spread it out. John knows. He's seen me do it before. But we really do got to get out of here. Gigi, Lisa, y'all were both great tonight. John, talk to you in a minute. Guys and girls, we got to go. I hope y'all caught Writers of the Future earlier today. Who was on with you earlier? On 311, I'm sorry.
311, that was the Victoria, and she was the publisher of Forward Magazine, and she created it in 1998.
That did pretty good. So I just posted it out a little while ago. And, of course, we have the professional with Echo Chernick. She just went off just before this show she was on, and she's causing all kind of trouble. Her and Laz just cause all kind of trouble. Yeah, I'm just teasing. She does a great job. Of course, it's this one, and then for the next hour there is the Gray Zone, which is an intense kind of show. It's a very research oriented show, and then following that is the Crazy People on the Chat tonight, and that's why we call it the Chat, because it is really a show about nothing and everything. It's completely, utterly about nothing. Completely and absolutely about everything. And on that, we got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Pug Radio. You can catch these ladies all over the place. Anything you didn't hear tonight, they both have several archives up. You can go check them out. They're available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and everywhere else that we are. Anywhere you can find radio and TV, they will be available there, and they are available for free. So check them out. You can find all kind of stuff about it. I asked them all kind of questions in the beginning, made them turn red and shit. So yeah, y'all need to go check it out. Again, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio on the Author's Quill. Stay tuned for the Gray Zone, and following that, the next live show is the Chat at 7 p.m. I will see y'all then. Good night, everyone.